All right.
There's that gargoyle.
Let's go take out those thugs.
Haven't we done this like 15 times? With
Yes.
with the gargoyles?
With this particular thing, or just this whole setup?
This whole setup.
Yeah, this is gonna happen a lot.
Is this the whole game? It's you swinging on gargoyles?
It's about a third of the game. It just seems to take the longest because it's like the most, like, you have to plot, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You have to plan, and so it can to be a little bit patient. You gotta be Batman.
I feel like Batman isn't patient.
What? He's patient when he has to be.
I guess so.
When he has to pick guys off with guns carefully without getting shot down.
Yeah.
That's why he installs these gargoyles so that he can swing swing around when he's being patient, so he's not bored.
I still can't get over the fact that Batman can see through walls.
I got this.
Is he hanging upside down?
Wow.
Yeah.
Like a bat.
Hang upside down.
We should go and take that guy out.
Have you ever noticed that part?
Imagine.
Batman 89, when Michael Keaton's hanging upside down and like spreading out his shoulders.
Yeah.
And it's like, wee, 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 and he's swinging.
When he's like sleeping.
When he's sleeping. And when I was a kid, I was like, is that a real exercise? Or is he just like sleeping like a bat? Does Batman just sleep like a bat?
That's what I always thought. When I was a kid, I saw that and I was like, oh, he's Batman, so he sleeps
here we
like a
go.
bat.
Right.
Inverted takedown.
Nice. Now he's hanging from the gargoyle.
Killed that guy.
No, he's just hanging from the gargoyle. So
Oh, okay.
He's fine.
All right, that's good. Torture's
moving.
better. Yeah.
Now he's gonna sleep like a bat.
Uh-oh. So, sleeping like a bat. Is he sleeping like a bat or is he exercising?
I don't know.
Because I don't know the answer.
Does
to
it
that.
matter? That movie is a lot of. It's almost like expressionistic. Like it doesn't matter what he's actually doing. It's just what it looks like he's doing.
That's true.
It's just another clue for what's her name?
Vicky Vale.
Vicky Vale to put things together.
Vicky Vale.
This man behaves like a bat. I wonder what that means.
Yeah, you think that would be like a huge clue to her. Like, why is Bruce Wayne hanging upside down like a bat? Wait a minute.
Bruce Wayne uses echolocation to get around his mansion. Just like a
Wait a second.
submarine. Is he the Submariner?
Is that their heart rate? What is that?
I think so.
Yeah, when they get a little scared, you know, their heart rate goes
How
up.
does Batman know their heart rate? What?
I don't know.
Batman is the Terminator now? Condition nervous.
He has a, enhanced hearing technology.
Sonar. Like
Sonar.
a bat.
Like a bat. I don't know if you've been following this thing that we've been doing. He is the Batman.
Is that what the ears are for?
And the cape.
The cape?
Cape is meant to look like wings. Oh, he's coming. Did he see you? Yes, he saw you.
But he won't shoot me.
Because you can move.
He is
can
shooting
move
you.
quickly between gargoyles. That'll confuse him.
That'll show him.
Woo! Okay, I did it.
Yeah, break his face.
Bam.
There you go.
He deserved it.
Mm-hmm. Alright, cool. Now the elevator's open.
All right. Let's check out this elevator.
Batman.
Oh, he's got a rip in his.
Yeah.
But then, is that like skin? So it's not like armor underneath?
Hanging precariously over a deadly drop.
Yeah, this should be Kevlar.
Yeah.
You can't just rip Kevlar like that.
A sack of puppies. Say good night, bats. Boom!
Such a classic laugh.
Got a few more surprises in store for you. Prepare to face your
Oh, what could that mean?
Fears.
Oh, Kevin has a bit of a cold.
That was actually a really wussy cough. It was like,
I have to fight crime.
That was a cool shot. Oh, yep.
That's not scary. That's scary.
There he is.
So I think we talked before. I don't know if we got this. That Scarecrow is actually one of the oldest
Yeah.
Batman villains.
He's like an original,
Yeah.
like Bob Kane, Bill Finger made him. Which just surprised me because he seems more... I just assumed he was more contemporary. Contemporary is a bad word. You know, more recent. Like, he seems like something more like from the 70s or the 80s because Arkham wasn't even around back then.
Right.
So,
But what did he have his origin in the original comics?
I don't know.
Was he the psychiatrist
I'm not sure.
inducing fears?
He probably was a psychiatrist.
Um,
Hugo Strange is a psychiatrist.
yeah, that's what I mean. Is that like, you know, I know Hugo Strange was also around back then, and it doesn't seem like character-wise there's a big difference between him and Dr. Crane.
Yeah, except for Dr. Crane is like, I'm gonna dress up and spray gas
that's what I mean.
on
That's
you.
why I think they would have came up with the Scarecrow. We should probably have looked into this before we're just like speculating. But I don't know. Do you want to give like a rundown of the Scarecrow, like who he is and his powers?
Well, we
That's
actually discussed. This is good. So if people watch this, in the event that anybody ends up seeing this, you know, maybe in the comments we can actually like clarify some of the stuff because one of the questions we had is
look it up by next time.
Yeah, that's true.
He makes a few appearances. Spoiler.
Does Scarecrow does his gas or you know his fear stuff? Does it make you see only what your specific fears are? Like, is it a purely subconscious psychological thing,
Right.
or is it just like you see scary things in general?
Yeah.
Because this is obviously
this is something
his
that Batman would be-
subconscious. Yeah.
Well, this maybe not obviously, but and then like how would they do this? Would the Scarecrow be able to manipulate
I was too late.
the external settings in a way that would trigger certain fears?
Yeah.
Like in Batman Begins, we see him use the mask to get people to freak out and
Are you there?
scream over like about a Scarecrow, and
Right.
then Dr. Crane would be like, "Oh yeah, their fears are taking typical Jungian stereotypes."
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
which is a really cool idea that that he's inducing the fear by putting on a Scarecrow mask, and then they get uncharacteristically and irrationally scared of scarecrows.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in Batman Begins, the thing seems to be more of just like a psychedelic drug that he knows how to manipulate. You know what I mean?
Because Batman uses it as well,
Yeah.
just to a lesser dose.
Yeah.
To
And it's like part of his training in
Yeah.
in the League of Shadows. And so, yeah, it seems like in Batman Begins, it's much more of like you just kind of see freaky things.
Yeah.
But I feel like in comic books and in the animated series, you tend to... But maybe that's because they use it
Well-
as like a lazy plot device. Because a lot of times you'll have a whole story that something awful is happening.
Yeah.
And then it ends with like, turns out it was just the
gas.
The gas.
But I don't know. In Batman Begins, I think they do a good job of showing that it's actually like a gripping fear that you can't necessarily... Because there's the scene with Kate... What's her name? Katie Holmes? She's like when
Rachel
she's-
Dawes.
Rachel Dawes, when she's like rescued by Batman. Like she kind of knows that it's Bruce at that point.
Yeah.
Because he's like talking to her as Bruce. And she's still like... You can still see that she's terrified of whatever she's seeing.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. This is deep.
Uh-oh. That is just disturbing.
Like a man.
It's harsh, man.
That is like really... That's dark. Like, that is dark stuff.
Oh, too soon.
She's supposed to be wearing pearls. What is that?
It's dark pearls.
Dark pearls. Those don't look like pearls.
The
those look like
pearls
jewels.
fell.
Well, so she was wearing pearls and some other random
I
necklace?
mean, sure.
The pearls...
She was really, really rich.
That's true.
Maybe she wasn't even wearing the pearls. Maybe she was just giving them up to the mugger.
Or maybe the pearls are just like a psychological thing in Batman's brain.
Yeah. So what do you think of this look? This look for the?
So he
Scarecrow?
looks like he's from Slipknot, which is kind of disappointing. I don't. I honestly, I like the Batman Begins thing where the Scarecrow
just a mask.
is just a guy who puts a mask on.
Yeah.
because him like getting into it and like cosplaying himself that way, like
that's basically what. Yeah.
like that just seems weird for him to do.
And I love that they kept him through the entire trilogy, like
Yeah.
recurring. And so, in the beginning of Dark Knight, he's just like doing drug deals as Scarecrow.
Well, it makes you wonder: was the Joker, was Bane, were these all just like Scarecrow-induced fear projections?
No, wait, that'd be crazy.
No, that'd be dumb, and that's obviously not what it was. But that's like one of those, Reddit should be one of those Reddit fan theories.
Okay,
I haven't read that. I should write it though.
You could put that out there.
I should write that.
So like we said, the Scarecrow is a psychiatrist named Jonathan Crane. I'm only familiar, not only familiar, but I'm mostly familiar with the Year One Scarecrow story, which is kind of like an origin. I think it came out about 10 years ago, maybe a little longer than that.
Is that the one you let me borrow?
I think
That
so.
I just gave back to you
probably.
a little bit ago?
Where he was basically abused as a kid and developed this irrational fear of birds because his grandmother basically used birds to torture him. Right? Am I getting that right?
Yeah, that sounds right. It's been a while since I read it. But
Yeah, same here. But so he kind of has this obsession with fear, and he uses it in kind of a radical therapy, and then he just turns out he's also crazy and likes to just torture people.
Yeah. Yeah.
As far as like all of the Bat villains, he's the one that I kind of have the hardest time figuring out what his actual motive is. Like, does he just want to make everybody afraid?
Yeah. Well, that's why we brought up Batman Begins probably way too much. But to be fair, Batman Begins probably is like the definitive Scarecrow story. But
At least, I mean, it's the only time he's showed up in the films.
But in the films, and also I don't think there's really like a Scarecrow arc in the comic books that anybody's like, that's just fantastic,
That's true.
So that's why I
true.
think that when you look at a lot of things, you can say like, oh, there's no definitive Joker because Heath Ledger's is definitive, but so is Mark Hamill's, and so is Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
With Scarecrow, like even though I've been reading the comics and watching the cartoons for way longer than like way before Batman Begins, ever since Batman Begins, I've just kind of settled on I like that version of the Scarecrow, and I like the idea that he's just part of the crime underground, and so that's why I like the idea that he is a psychiatrist who's functioning above ground, but is using his research to kind of help other people. So, like, obviously in Batman Begins, it's Ra's al Ghul and the crime, the crime families and stuff. So I like Scarecrow in that way. The video game, we've already talked about this, is very monstery. It's like Killer Croc is like this giant monster thing. And they're doing that with Scarecrow too, which I think is like a little bit less interesting than the psychiatrist who is just corrupt.
Well, I really love what they do in the video games. Before we move on to the next part, with the Scarecrow, because the first time you play through this, you don't really catch what's going on. Like, you don't really know that and it's a good way to like introduce a hallucination, because you can do that in a video game because you can like look at what's happening.
Yeah.
And so I really like the way they do it there, and then turning him into like this other platforming thing. Like, that's an interesting choice, and it's just an interesting way to use the villain. Anyway, next time on Game for Brains, more Batman. We'll see what's in that door with the Joker face on it.
GameForBrains.